Good morning. It is Tuesday, September 23rd, and I slept like shit. Who would have guessed that adding an extra workout into the day and then not relaxing in the evening time would lead to me sleeping bad? Not me. Busy day at work today, playing catch up from the long weekend, and I've got a big, long meeting in the morning. 4 hours of just team training where I'm not supposed to be focused on other things. So it's really taking away from a lot of my morning time. I'm just on a quick break from that meeting to grab a snack, and then I am back to work. Why shouldn't I have a cookie at 9 a.m.? Oh man, I am having a day. Work was crazy. I guess that's what happens when you take a couple of days off during a big product launch. But man, the first half of the day was 4 hour long meeting, and then it was all catch up from there. So really like a pretty heavy duty work day. I am off to the gym right now. We are doing a leg day, but right before I was getting to leave, we opened a letter, and the letter included an outstanding balance from the hospital that I went to after I broke my hip. And that hospital is claiming that we owe them $119,000, which is super cool. So that definitely added a lot to the heavy day, and we're right in insurance open enrollment, where our monthly cost for insurance is probably going to go up about $100 every single month. And there's not really a better alternative for that. So not the best day, that's for sure. So we are gonna go do some squats. We're gonna go lift heavy and push our way through it, and then go home and figure out what the game plan is.
Okay, so let's go through today's leg day. You can see the setup for my squat. I do pretty much the same setup every single time, and it gets my traps retracted, and it feels really good to have the bar on. So you'll see me do that setup each time I get under the bar. This is my max lift, heaviest week on the 5-3-1 program. So this first set is 5 reps of 175. Then I moved into 3 reps of 200. And then finally, the last set should be 225 by 1. But you'll see here, I actually managed to get that for 3 reps. And I think a lot of what I'm seeing on these heavy lifting days is just me recovering strength, not necessarily getting stronger, because of course I've squatted much heavier than this in the past. You can see some of the instability in my hips as I go down. There's a little bit of side to side movement. So I'm still recovering, but it feels really good to get under the bar with some heavier weight on it. This is my first time squatting 225 since getting hurt, and it felt really, really good. It moved slower than it has in the past, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just enjoyed getting under some heavy weight and feeling strong. These first 3 reps that you'll see on my single leg squat is my warm-up set, I guess you could call it. I started with 8 reps on each leg. And as I was doing these, I was thinking to myself, I know I can go deeper, but I should get through 1 warm-up set before I do. I did a total of 3 sets, each of 8 reps. And you can see here on the back couple of reps, I'm getting a lot deeper on that squat. And that ultimately was the goal and the reason why I'm not doing these with weight anymore. Now that the quads are sufficiently cooked, I moved into these RDLs. It's funny because looking back on the video, my movement seems really restricted, and I'm not 100% sure if I'm doing these correctly, but man, I really feel the burn in my glutes, especially right along the scar that I have from where the surgery was done. So It feels like it's working. I would love to clean these up a little bit, but I'm not really sure where to start. A lot of the ways that I do workouts is just feeling where, the squeeze is happening or where the stretch is happening, and just trying to make small adjustments over time to get it. And you can see that I'm really struggling on these reps. And the reason why I'm struggling is because my glutes are feeling fatigued. So it's working. I moved up to 12 pounds this week from 10 pounds, and I'm just going to keep at it and hopefully continue to get stronger here. But progress is definitely going slowly. The last weighted exercise of the day are these Bulgarian split squats. Last week, I went up to 40 pounds. This week, I went up to 50 pounds. There wasn't a jump for me to go in between. My gym doesn't have any 22.5-pound dumbbells or 22.5-pound kettlebells. So I just decided to try out the 25s. And honestly, these couple of sets here went really well. I did 3 sets of 8 reps each with the 50 pounds, and it was definitely hard, but I pushed through. I think I kept the form pretty well. You can see there's a little bit of a bobble there, but for the most part, everything was nice and sturdy, going through the motions, feeling strong and well balanced. And then I finished the workout with some plyometric exercises. So warming up my hips with, these just little step ups, moving to some single leg jumps. This is going to be really important as I progress with my weekly mileage, but also get back to skiing. And these definitely took it out of me. And, then I finished the workout with these lateral hops here. So I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really stable in my knee and hip.
Man, what a fucking brutal day it's been. Part of it is definitely on me. I've had a lot of days off this month, which has been awesome. I really can't complain about that, but the work definitely piles up, and getting in and clocking in this morning for a 4-hour meeting without being able to do any follow-up definitely set the day off to a rocky start. It was a quick morning, didn't get a chance to really make like a good cup of coffee, didn't really eat until, late in the day, and I was snacking on the cookies that I made last night, which is a horrible idea. So too much caffeine and only eating sugar, that's really already a recipe for me feeling stressed out. Add on top of the already stressful day, we're in the middle of picking a new insurance plan right now. The open enrollment period ends in 2 days. So that's weighing on my mind because our current insurance plan is going up. And then to open up the mail to get a pretty, substantial bill. There's no way that we actually owe that much. We have paid everything that we owe for my hip surgery, but God, that really put the stress on me today. I like to think that I handle stress pretty well, but I think the reality is that I usually have time to go work out and burn off some of the emotions that I'm feeling. And that's just not the case today. It was just too busy and things just kept stacking up. And, part of me definitely feels like there's some things that I haven't worked through with, chemo and getting cancer and having that surgery and then coming back and feeling like myself again and just getting hurt again when I finally was starting to feel normal. That's a lot of traumatic events to happen in such a short period of time, and that's really, not even close to the full of it that's happened over the last couple of years. And maybe that's just life, we've got a really great life. We live in a beautiful area. We have a great house. We have a great family life, despite my history of sickness and injuries, and my wife who broke her neck and has an artificial disc. We're pretty healthy, all things considered. Life is good, but it's moments like these that can really sneak in and flip the script on you. And I'm just happy that as I talk through things, I just start to feel better about the way that things are, and start to think about how great everything is really in my life. And despite the fact that there are these external stressors, nothing is really wrong. I was on the phone with my dad earlier because when I got hurt, I was still under my parents' insurance, and we were talking about it because I wanted to make sure that he didn't get anything in the mail either that maybe we were missing. And, you know, after we got off the phone, he could tell that I was stressed, and he sent me a message and he said, you know, the worry is the worst part, and it's really about how you react to these stressful situations that makes the difference. And for me, the reaction is always movement. Like, movement is the thing that makes me feel better. You know, when I was a teenager, I would go to the gym if I was sad or angry or whatever the emotion was. You know, the gym was the solution. And I've been fortunate that as I get older, you know, really it's just movement in general, you know, working my body. It could be running, it could be biking, it could be skiing, it could be the gym, and that's what it was today. You know, these things really help me center myself, and I think a lot of it is it helps cut out the noise. You know, when you're lifting something that's really heavy, or you know, getting your heart rate up, whatever that means for you, it focuses you almost. You know, it's like an animal instinct that kicks in. You know, when your heart starts racing, you become focused, and the noise really clears away. And I really felt that at the gym today. You know, I even just did my warm-up set of squats, and I had to walk outside and call my wife and just tell her that I was sorry for getting in a mood before I left the house, because we didn't really resolve anything before I left. I just said, I'm really stressed out and I'm having a moment and I have to go. And she knows me, and she said, go work out. We'll deal with this. Everything's going to be okay. And after that one warm-up set, I had to go and call her and apologize just for leaving the house in such a mood. And she said, hey, it's okay. And, you know, everything's going to be all right. And that's just another one of those things, you know, that's so great about life, is having people like that in my corner, and just people who know me and know that, you know, I'm going to get to the other side of these moments, and they're just there for me to support me through it. So a bit more of an emotional take on today's video, but God, you know, I look at my life, and I think it's really easy to get sucked into this idea that everything is like perfect. And I try not to put my problems on other people. You know, I don't want to bring anybody down with how I'm feeling or what's going on in my life. And I really try to lift people up. But I also think that maybe that gives the impression that nothing gets to me. And in reality, there's a lot that gets to me. You know, I live a pretty stressed out life despite how good things are. And so it's a practice of centering myself and getting back to these moments. And I think part of that too is why I end up with days like yesterday, where I just end up exercising the whole day, or, you know, exercise or doing activities or whatever you want to call it. But, you know, I woke up and I ran, and then I had 20 minutes, and then I went for a bike ride, and then I came home and ate a snack, and then I went to the gym, and that's my whole day right there. You know, that's a lot of hours of just being out and moving. And it is a little bit of a cope, but man, it keeps me centered and it keeps life good. I'm just getting home from the gym right now. That workout is really exactly what I needed. And I'm going to go inside and eat some leftover chili and a baked potato and just enjoy the rest of the night with my wife.